Tears of the Kingdom has recently been released, and I couldn't be more impressed. This game is absolutely amazing. Even the tutorial island is a ton of fun. But before you move on to the rest of this massively changed Hyrule, here's 8 things that you need to do before you leave the Great Sky Island. Because I guarantee you, the moment you leave, you are not going to want to come back, just because of the crazy abundance of things to do in the rest of Hyrule. But before we get into the video, a massive thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. Are you sick of your crusty old browser? Do you want a browser that doesn't take up 90% of your computer's resources? Well, Opera GX has you covered. With Opera GX's GX control, you can completely limit the amount of RAM and CPU usage that it can use. And to cure your browser boredom, Opera GX has GX mods that will change the sounds of your browser, like opening tabs and typing, and even as background music. All of these can also be turned on and off to your liking. GX mods will also change your wallpaper, color themes, and add shaders, basically giving your browser a complete makeover. And it's super easy to access the GX store to download a new mod if you get bored of your current one. I've recently switched to using Opera, and it's like switching from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. A crazy amount of seamless improvements. And switching over to Opera GX has never been easier. With just a couple clicks, you can transfer all of your bookmarks and cookies to Opera GX, so you'll still be signed in to all of your favorite websites. If you use my link to download Opera, you will get an exclusive feature in your GX corner, where my 12 most recent videos will appear. And that's useful because I'm actually going to start uploading regularly. So make sure to download Opera GX with my link in the description and improve your browsing experience today. Talk to the friendly constructs. From my limited experience with the game, this Sky Island seems to be one of the very few places where you can talk to friendly constructs. They will teach you a lot of stuff about this game. Most of the tips being things I didn't even know, though I have 1,000 hours in Breath of the Wild. Just goes to show how different this game is from Breath of the Wild. Talking with these constructs can also net you some pretty nice items to make progression easier. And they're just fun to talk to, especially with how you seem like quite the little menace to these hard workers. Fight as many constructs as possible. Besides talking to the friendly constructs, you should try to defeat every single hostile construct that you can find. Their cores are very useful for exchanging at the pinball machine for more Zonai parts, and their horns can add a nice damage buff to your weapons and arrows. They can also drop some pretty unique fused weapons that can help you get a better understanding of Fuse and the interactions that it has. Experiment with Ultra Hand and Fuse. With the Great Sky Island being the tutorial area of the game, it's a relatively safe place compared to the rest of Hyrule, where punishments for making some pretty big mistakes are a lot less severe. And with the abundance of materials there are, this is the perfect place to get familiar with all of the controls of Ultra Hand and Fuse. There's a crazy amount of Ultra Handable material. We're gonna need to come up with a word for objects that can be used with Ultra Hand. But with this abundance of items at your disposal, you should try your craziest ideas, because from what I've tested, Ultra Hand is basically limitless. And while not as complicated, it will be good to get familiar with Fuse, and what different materials do when fused with your equipment. Spend as much time with Rauru as you can. Just like the old man in Breath of the Wild, Rauru is your companion while you get adjusted to the controls and interactions of Tears of the Kingdom. And he kinda did technically save your life, so you should probably take your time to talk to him. But to my knowledge, once you complete this area, you won't be able to go back and talk with him again, just as it is with King Rome. So whenever you get the chance to go and talk with Rauru, you should take the opportunity, just because who knows if you'll ever get to see him again. And the dialogue with him is actually quite interesting and engaging. I found myself enjoying it a lot more than I did with the old man. Fight the Flux Construct. Right over here on the Great Sky Island is an arena type island with a Flux Construct right in the middle. The same one we see in the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. This is actually quite the fun boss fight, requiring you to use multiple of your abilities that you acquire on this island and gives you a pretty good reward. A Flux Core, which at first might seem completely useless as you can't even pick it up, but it's actually quite the powerful add-on to be fused with a weapon of your choosing. Overall, this is definitely one of my favorite things to do on the Sky Island and should not be passed up. Collect as many Koroks as you can find. With the addition of Fuse, you're going to be making so many weapons that your slots seem to fill up faster than you can imagine. So going Korok hunting while you're here is a pretty good idea, because once you've moved on from this island, you aren't going to want to come back for a pretty long time. And this island has a ton of new puzzles that make use of your brand new abilities. Like this one, where you have to use Ultra Hand to make a device to get this Korok over to his buddy. Pretty cute and fun. These Korok seeds will prove even more useful now, as I've heard Hetsu has been practicing his skills, and now has an even better Maraca dance. But let's just hope there's a better reward than a heaping pile of poo for getting all of the Koroks in this game. Mine all of the Zonite. In the mine on the Great Sky Island, there are these weird looking ore deposits. Make sure to break every single one of these and grab all of the Zonite that they drop. I won't spoil what it does, but Zonite is extremely useful throughout the rest of this game, so now is a very good chance to stock up on this very useful resource. Also, while you're here, make sure to harass the friendly constructs, just to assert your dominance as the hero of Hyrule. Use Recall in the final Shrine Room. Using Recall in the final Shrine Room will lead you up to this area where you're greeted by a chest with 3 Zonai wings. While not the greatest reward, there are a ton of great items hidden in chests all around the Great Sky Island. The small islands in between the Revival Island and the Great Sky Island tend to have some really good rewards, and there are so many chests and structures that are scattered throughout the island. I'm not going to go over them, but there are a ton, so make sure to explore every nook and cranny of this beautiful tutorial area.